All right, Diego, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Great to have you here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to crack one of these damn good waters.
Yeah. They're really good, actually. They just berry.
Yeah, you got it.
Yep.
The berry, yeah. Thank you to the team at Damn Good Waters. Troy there is a legend.
Yeah.
And it's a great product.
Yeah. Haven't had the pleasure of meeting them, but
have you been to
tasty water?
Have you been to like Bacon Bros or
Yeah.
Shaco's Bros?
Yeah.
Nice.
But not like Terry, you said?
Not what?
Who's the owner?
Oh, Troy.
Troy, sorry. Yeah. Haven't met Troy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a pretty busy man.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Lots going on. So we first met through the Momentum event, right? That was the connection.
Yeah.
So that was back in, I guess, mid 2025.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. That was via a business that you were/are still doing? Well, no.
No,
it's done.
Just killing the darlings, you know?
Tell us about it, though. It was a bit of a wild business.
Yeah. It was my attempt of getting my, I guess, my wife to have something set up after the kids are a bit older. So the idea was that, it was kind of out of nowhere. She was like, oh, yeah, I would like a bakery. I was like, oh, yeah, sounds like a good idea. I'll set up a bakery. And did that for like 8 months, a bit longer, with the idea of being, okay, we're going to do this bakery and then December 2024, I'm going to hand it over and then kind of like do my own thing, So yeah, that was the plan. And, did a lot of work, did the branding, did the marketing, just the product and
yeah, gotcha. And
website, the whole thing.
That specific product was like cinnamon rolls.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
With something.
Yeah, so we did research, which was essentially just going out to all the coffee shops in Christchurch, tasting different cinnamon rolls, which was really interesting. Like just
tough gig.
Yeah. Not good for the belly, right? But yeah, we did that for like a year-ish while we were trying to figure out what we wanted to bring. It was kind of like not really. It was like unintended market research, right? Because we just went to coffee shops, and I like cinnamon rolls because I lived in the US a while ago, and I was like, I just want to have a few, and then had a few too many, and then just kind of like decided to kind of like bring this our proposal to the market. But Julie, my wife, she's a psychologist, so with the whole AI movement and being parents and being out in society, she really wanted to bring something that was useful for like connection and interpersonal, just interpersonal connection. So me being the product guy, I was like, okay, let's not just do food, let's have a food experience around connection. And that was kind of like the whole idea behind it. So we would put like little fortune cookie style connection messages,
Yes.
That was kind of like before like card games around connection kind of like started popping up. So we just put them in cinnamon rolls, and then they would, not inside, but off to the side. And then as people were kind of like having the rolls, they would kind of like be able to bring this kind of like little paper, and then if they have the courage, they would kind of like just start just reading them and then asking questions to get to know one another.
Yeah, I think it definitely worked at Momentum as a bit of a, not like an icebreaker, but a way to get the conversation started.
Yeah, and that was kind of like the whole point. For us, it was all about, let's kind of like break those walls in a simpler way and just have something delicious on the back, in the back end of that. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I was hardcore on my health and fitness journey.
Yeah.
Then so I wasn't even going near them. I just knew that if I look at it, it's definitely not just going to be one of those things.
Yeah. We actually put a little, quite a bit of effort on the recipe, which we still hold. So I don't ask for that many, that often, but I've asked Julie to make some for Christmas this year, just to, just as a toast to the idea,
Nice, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Hey, quick interruption. When I'm not podcasting,
I'm working on growing Alt and working with clients as my main role as a business coach. Right now, I'm looking to meet more fellow business owners. The reason is simple. The more people I know, the more value I can bring, whether it's through coaching, the podcast, or just connecting good people. If you're based in Christchurch, let's grab a coffee. If you're further afield, let's jump on a call. Now, let's get back to the episode.
And then I guess, more recently, we've been, talking more and more about AI automation and what's possible, doing some stuff with Alt, which is awesome. It blows my mind. I think seeing like the way the data flows is really cool. I love that within the window, I guess you'd call it, the browser. Just seeing how it all ties together. I guess from a education standpoint, as of current day, right? October, late Q4 2025. How would you explain the world that we live in from an automation standpoint, off-the-shelf products, like how it all ties together?
So automations are actually, at the moment, they're mainly being used as integration tools. I think every software company is trying to come up with AI plus automations within their platforms. Automations kind of, I think, existed in different platforms like forever, but having those integrations were kind of like limiting, right? Whereas now people are thinking about, how do I use AI to communicate to other apps, right? So I think that's kind of like where the value is being perceived at the moment. That's not to say that, there's much more in the AI world that's not really being taken over by, the common kind of like population. So I think that's kind of like the value is more useful at the moment in that regard, just the integration.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a really good point. Like integrations have been around for a long time natively. Certain software has always integrated with other software, but I guess what we're seeing now is a new level of connectivity.
And interpretation as well, because you can have the data going back and forth, but if it's just a simple copy of the data and in a different platform, it's kind of like almost useless. Whereas having the AI in the middle, it's distilling it in a way that it's useful for another person, for example.
That's the value add, right?
Yeah. That's kind of like where
And I guess what is also of interest and value is that there is like backdoor ways to connect it, right?
Oh yeah.
Whereas it used to be a hard block, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Like if there's is it an API?
Yeah. So so if software, they have their own integrations and they go through like custom code, which they are called like APIs, which are like entry points to other software. So that's always existed. But just AI in a way is kind of like allowing you to get a little bit of like if that doesn't exist, you can go and kind of like into the website and scrape some of the information out of it without having that API. But there are, like limitations on the bots, but again, bots have existed ages, forever, but having, I guess, all the tools in a workflow is what allows the integration to be seamless. Otherwise, I guess if you have a bot, it's useless because you only have like one way of interacting with it. But if you have an integration with a bot, then that's a bit more powerful. And if you have an integration with a bot with AI, then it kind of like just starts compounding that way.
Totally, yeah. What do you think has been like the best use case or the best automation that you've come across? Does anything come to mind as like, this just blew my mind. This is awesome. This is awesome.
Yeah. Believe it or not, at the moment, it's something simple as, to me, it's all about as a person being able to be present in the moment. So what allows me personally to do that is kind of like just an AI voice note taker. It's so simple, but it is so useful. And then being able to kind of like interact with that conversation in different manners. That's kind of like one of the best ways to use AI at the moment. Just because it's more natural, it feels more natural.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. it used to be quite a different dynamic, right? Like historically, not having that technology and needing to either take notes or, yeah, I guess as you say, like being split focused, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to listen, but I'm also trying to record
Yeah.
what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So and the way and the reason that I like it, it's because it allows you to be more connected and more present in the moment. I could discuss, or we could talk about like any other AI automations that like are revolve around efficiencies or handling of documentation, or the reporting and things like that. But I think this is all still mechanical and allow as people we kind of like it's just another way of presenting the same information that's already out there, which is useful, but it's not really. It doesn't really allow us to, be more human in a way. That's kind of like what I'm trying to go with.
True. Yeah. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Have you found that one of them is more accurate than the others in terms of transcription?
I've only played with 3 different ones. Actually, probably 4. The one that I use right now is called Fireflies AI, and that's really good because it has an API available, so you can code it to do other things, or you can trigger it to do other things. Some others are closed, so you cannot do that. But because I'm in AI automations, is actually quite useful because you can trigger other things to happen after the transcript's been finished or the summary and stuff like that.
Yeah. I was looking at the hardware version. Is it the Plaid?
Yeah.
I was looking at that. One of the guys upstairs has actually got one.
Yeah.
And quite cool to see like a physical hardware option, right?
Yeah, I think that's what OpenAI are wanting to do with what's his name, the designer from Apple, Johnny Ive. Johnny Ive, yeah. Is it Johnny Ive?
I'm not sure.
I think it's Johnny Ive. Yeah. So they've partnered with OpenAI to create like the actual hardware.
Right.
But I'm really interested to see what's the evolution, right? Because before the iPhone, we had phones that had similar functionality but weren't the full package. And I'm hoping that the next version of that, it's not another phone, It's more like an integration of technology in our day-to-day. You kind of see that with like the AR glasses. I actually like that really like a lot.
That's cool, right?
Yeah, I like it from a technological point of view, not necessarily from a kind of like interpersonal connection point of view, but it's useful for certain scenarios, right?
There was that one product that launched perhaps a year ago or so, the pin. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
And it flopped radically.
Yeah.
Flopped hard.
Yeah. It's really interesting.
Which was surprising. They were funded. They had some A-grade talent, and yet didn't really work.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's developing the physical product is it's not only about the usefulness but also about the experience. And we have such a high bar of experience at the moment, that anything that doesn't meet that minimum bar is just kind of like, it's not great. You can see that in websites, like if you do like a basic HTML website that looks like it's been made in the 90s, no one likes it. Unless you're really particular about that style, right? But if you have, you have to have a minimum bar, and the same happens with physical products. Right? You cannot have like an ugly looking block. It needs to be useful and needs to be cohesive in the environment that you're using it and stuff like that. So similarly, I think the next generation of products that are data gathering products kind of have to be like embedded in our lifestyles,
integrated better. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think we're getting to a point where there's been so much evolution and iteration occur that the barriers are pretty high.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Is just taking the basics and refining further. It's weird, right?
Yeah. To me, one of the more straightforward ones would be like wearables, like if you're clothing, you can have like circuits in clothing at the moment. You can have batteries in clothing. you can have, like you can make really small webcams that can be like just in clothing. So microphones as well. So to me, that's almost like a way of making it easy and to have tech around you without really thinking about it, But of course, there's all these privacy concerns behind it. And how does that actually how is that all that data being fed to whatever hub you're using, right? So
what are your predictions for the next 12 months, say? Like if we're sitting here in a year's time.
Yeah. I think that, I can see that the hype is kind of like dying down. Like a couple of years ago or last year, everyone wanted to kind of like learn about what AI is, like what it can do. And I think most people know what AI is now and how it works in the background. So now it's like, okay, how is it actually useful to me in my day-to-day jobs? So that's kind of like where AI automations and integrations are becoming useful. But I think the AI in the way that it is right now, I don't think it will be much more useful in the long term. I think there needs to be an evolution of the tech behind on the software behind it. Then you can kind of see it already in kind of like ChatGPT, or any large language model. What they're doing essentially is giving it more space or more memory, more context, so that it can gather more information. But the intelligence doesn't really know what to pick or where to pick. So it essentially kind of like tries to guess based on the context, what is, the best context to pick from to give you an answer. But it isn't really picking great, and giving it more information, more context is not going to make it better. I think, unless there's other like better strategies.
Do you think that's a hardware restriction, like from a data restriction, like a data?
I think it's just the strategy of, just the strategy of how the large language model is designed, But, I'm not an AI engineer, so, that's kind of like just my guess, really.
Yeah.
But you can kind of like see it already with GPT-5. It's trying to do too many things at once.
Right.
And the other prediction I would say is that AI at the moment, it's very individualistic. So, like it works for you and only you, but we have relationships and context from other people. And sometimes, when you're prompting an AI, it doesn't know the context of the other person. So it needs that to be better at giving you an answer.
True. Yeah.
So, it's like the sharing of AI information, right? That's kind of like where I see it working better, or actually being able to have a conversation like you and I with an AI in the middle, but that's somewhat contributing.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Because, like maybe we have, we're discussing business, for example, and then we need someone that's an expert in procurement. Then, the AI can sub for that.
Contribute to the that's cool.
Yeah. And not only one, like 2 or 3 or 4, you never know,
Yeah, what are the blind spots based on an expert, procurement expert?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's more or less what we've done with that automation to take the transcripts, right?
Yeah.
Consolidate them and run them through for a few prompts.
Yeah.
To identify any blind spots or opportunities to add value. But it's interesting what you say about reaching almost like a ceiling. And do you feel like the next major leap will be when and if like general intelligence is reached?
I can only go off by the information that I've been like reading and watching on YouTube. And there's a guy that thinks that, AGI is not close yet, not as close as we think, because of these bottlenecks that we're finding and, the next walls. But, interestingly enough, like ChatGPT is all based on text, right? So it's all being trained on text, and I guess binary code and things like that. But that's only one strategy, right? It just happens that it's been the most useful since ages, but that doesn't mean that there are no other strategies to train AIs, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I think there's got to be a combination of different strategies to train AI models that will actually make it useful. You can see that in the OpenAI real-time speech patterns. So they've trained a large language model not based on text, but actually based on audio. And then that makes it so that the input and output is only audio files, it's not text.
Okay.
So, and that latency is kind of like much better because of the fact that they use a different strategy to train that model.
Right.
And it's smarter because it just goes off audio. I don't know, it's not a binary file, it's just an audio.
Right.
So that means that it can actually understand different languages much faster and things like that. But you can do the same with video, or you can do the same with other real physical values, right? So yeah, it's just a different strategy.
There's probably additional context with audio versus text as well, right?
Yeah, for sure. The ums and the ahs, all those, they definitely kind of like give you they would give you like a different feel for the conversation.
I remember when we were talking a while ago about sentiment analysis and how you can only analyze so much from text and or voice, but visually, with video, is that something that's available now? Like, can you use video to analyze facial expressions?
Yeah. And that's yet another. It's just another way of training a neural network, right? Because an AI is essentially a text-based neural network, but there have been emotion or face recognition software even before that, and that's just another neural network kind of like piece of code. So that already exists. It's just about putting it all together and making it so that it can happen in real time and more naturally. And the amount of data that needs to be processed really fast for that to be useful, it's kind of like I think that's the bottleneck at the moment.
Right. Yeah.
Because you can do real time video analysis of faces or any video. Like that's what Tesla are doing, for example, for self-driving. But giving that information back in a way that's useful and present it to you that's useful, then that's kind of like, okay, what do I do with this data now? What's the next step?
Yeah, see, that's released now, this self-drive.
Yeah.
I don't have it. I haven't upgraded yet, but it's tempting.
Yeah.
You haven't experienced it, have you?
Self-drive? No. I don't know if I like it.
I don't know either, but I mean, for $170 a month, it's maybe worth a punt.
Yeah. I think it's more about, to me, the question is about, do you want to give control of your assets remotely to another company, right? Because just like, it's a security question for me. Like, do I feel comfortable with someone somewhere deciding that if I can use my car or not? And that can happen with my vacuum robot or or my Ring camera. How comfortable you are with having giving that access and capability of other person, kind of like making the choice of your privacy.
Totally. Yeah. Have you seen much or done much with automating software and hardware?
Yeah. That's the standard. Like just you create a physical thing, then you plug it with a USB or Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, and then you just write the code that will send the commands, and then the physical thing will move.
Yeah.
That's what
I guess it's no different than any other automation, right?
Yeah, Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not really different. It is more about what automation rather than if it can be automated. Yeah.
It's funny with like home automation, in terms of lighting and curtains and all that. It's funny how it's been around for a few years now, but it hasn't really taken off. Like, I wouldn't say it's mass adopted, would you? Not like a...
Not really. Like, and that's kind of like where I was trying to go before. Like, the fact that you can automate it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a useful automation.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a really
I mean,
good
I have my Philips Hue lights and stuff like that, which I, like when I bought them, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna have this scene and then this scene. And then if the GPS is close to, I'm close to my home, it'll turn on the lights. But then eventually it's like,
I'll just turn it on.
Yeah. Just flick the switch. And like we can have like dance parties and that's fun, but that's pretty much the only use I give to my lights.
Yes.
I mean, if I really wanted to, I could probably like give it more time and spend the time to make something look nicer, but it's not really. I went a little bit into like home automations and had my vacuum robot like triggered to vacuum at nights and stuff like that.
Right.
But I'm kind of glad I didn't go any further.
Yeah, I found myself down a YouTube vortex the other day looking at. There's so many channels that are based on home automation, right? And what's possible and just like the setups people have got. And they've just leaned all the way in. And it's kind of cool, but it's also just like, I don't know. It's just, there's something missing, right?
Yeah. And I think it's the usefulness, because some of the, it depends the type of person that you are, but some of the tasks are good to use. For example, I like making my own coffee, right? And I actually enjoy making the coffee, and with the coffee grinder and the manual coffee machine.
Mm-hmm.
Then that could be automated, but I just it's kind of like that's what I like doing.
It's a ritual.
It's a ritual, exactly. It's kind of like the same with cooking. Like once you have a robot that cooks, sure you can get the meals, but can you get that feeling of someone else having made that for you, or you're making it for someone else?
That satisfaction.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess it's not about like what is automatable. It's just about like what are you missing out on by doing so.
Yeah, I think one thing that's been on my mind lately is just regarding, say, like health and fitness data, and just how I feel like there's potentially an opportunity there to tie in a few different things. Like the Whoop, for example, has got a lot of inbuilt data, but it doesn't really talk to, say, like smart scales, or it doesn't necessarily talk to like the calorie tracking app.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if there would be a way to tie that all together, or if there is a single like software that does tie them all together. I don't know.
I wouldn't know if there's something that ties it all together, but again, because it's software, it's all about like if there are APIs available, you should be able to integrate them all. And this is kind of like we've talked about like dashboarding before, right? It's you can have all this information, and once you integrate it, how do you present it in a way that's useful?
Which is surprisingly hard.
Yeah.
A lot of chat around data and visualization, but it's actually surprisingly hard in my experience to decide like what data to present and how to visualize it.
Yeah. And when, sometimes you're missing on a like, you're missing a data point that would have been really important because you're looking at dashboard. But yes, I mean, it is all doable. But then also it's like, what's the usefulness, like what are you actually trying to track and why?
Sure. Yeah. I guess that's when the human expert comes into the equation, right?
Yeah.
And so if the human expert can use those data sources appropriately, that's probably the value add, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Because the untrained human with a lot of data is just an overwhelmed human.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's a good point, actually. If you gave all that data to your personal trainer, they would know what to do with it. They would know what's going on and look at the trends. And
what are we looking for here? Yeah. Same in business, I guess, right? Like if you look at, say, marketing data versus financial data, is it upstream, downstream? Where does this data sit in the in the ecosystem.
Yeah. You're just making me think at the moment because it seems like AI lets us be good enough at a lot of things, but even if you have the data and the dashboard, that doesn't mean that you have the expertise. So you still need like an expert in the subject matter to kind of like analyze it in a deeper way. So I think that's kind of like where our human value lies, right?
I think so. Yeah.
So expertise.
And there's probably a quite specific set of data for the individual business or individual too, right? Like even looking at the Whoop, it's very easy to get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
There's a lot of metrics that are stored within that app, and I don't know if we have the ability to process all those different data points.
Yeah.
And so therefore you just resort to looking at a few.
Yeah.
And it's probably accurate with business too.
Yes.
I think there's no shortage of ways that you could extrapolate data, but really you could probably distill it down to a couple of key points.
Yeah. And that's what AI does, for example, right? So you can have all the data in your app and still query it and get the actual information that you want in a way that you want it. Yes, but that still doesn't, it's generic. So it does still, if you're missing some specific data point that would have been really useful for you to know, it doesn't know that you want to know that information because you haven't asked for it.
Yeah. Interesting. Has there been any recent startups that you've come across that are super cool? Anything that like sticks out as like, this is actually quite usable. Like this is actually cut through.
Yeah. I would like to say my startup, but
that's a good plug.
Yeah. Not really. I mean, I'm a little bit disillusioned with the whole SaaS kind of like industry. Not because it's not useful, but it's because it's not general enough. So what I mean by that is that I know that for an app to be useful, it needs to be like niched and vertical and solving a problem real well, right? And that's what makes it successful. If you're solving a hair on fire problem, right? But the problem is that when everyone is doing the same and tackling a different problem, then you end up with all these different products that don't talk to one another, right? And that's kind of like what we're seeing right now, right? Like the actual integration is the problem. So I think now that we have the ability to solve hard problems really fast, I think the next step is to solve maybe, try to be a bit wider in the scope. And that might be contrarian to a startup kind of like culture. But I think if you try to solve a bigger piece of the pie, I think that will be a bit more useful because it's more holistic. But yeah, I mean, I really like voice AI, for example. But I might be biased because I most of the stuff that I see on the internet is all about AI. But I'm sure there's going to be like non-AI software solutions that are out there that are actually quite cool.
True. Yeah, and I mean that's what critics or skeptics have been speculating for the last couple of years, right? Is that AI is this fad, right? It's gonna end. It's not forever.
Yeah, it's a feature. I don't think it's a product. I think it's an add-on.
Yeah,
it's just that it's really useful, so it's really cool. But you can see like years from now that you're gonna have the AI capability in every piece of software that you use. Yeah, if not in your glasses or in your phone, you can kind of like already have that.
Even if you look at the two words, right, artificial intelligence, it's not actually artificial, really, is it? It's really just reasoning. It's just logic, and it's consolidating information versus being genuinely artificial. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm going on a tangent here, but artificial general intelligence, that would be more authentically artificial, right?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you mean by artificial, right? Like, what is your definition of artificial?
Non-natural.
Yeah, right.
So maybe it is, I guess, AI. I don't know. You know what I mean, though, right?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have independent thought.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. So it's you call it artificial intelligence, but it's not really. I don't know if you can say it's intelligent or artificial.
And I guess define intelligence.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Really interesting. The way that I'm thinking about AI, and this is not answering your question, but maybe it is. I read a paper like last year or 2 years ago about how our brain has different consciousness. I don't know if you've come across that. So apparently, like, when you think about yourself and your own consciousness, it's like you are you, right? But there are other sub processes that happen in the background that some scientists consider conscious as well. Like breathing, and that's consciousness, but it's not. It's just a different kind of consciousness. So there are layers to consciousness within your mind that kind of like make you.
Right. Yes.
So that was kind of like a couple of years ago or last year. But then the way that I'm thinking about it in the AI world, and ChatGPT can probably kind of like, my ChatGPT can kind of like be attest to this. Like in a way, my consciousness, my brain is being offloaded or like complemented with ChatGPT at the moment. So in a way, it's an extension of my consciousness.
Yes.
It's just a different thought process.
Right.
Something that I could have probably like thought about. For myself, I'm just kind of like offloading to a different, right? So is that an extension of my consciousness? That's maybe too deep of a question, but then what happens when like when you have a a community, like you can think about it as a common a common mind in a way, like you have your brain and my brain and some other people's brain, but we collectively come to a kind of like a decision making framework that works for all of us. So you could consider that a like government or community, like a way of a consciousness. So when do you stop? When is the mind and the beginning? When does it end?
Yeah,
and AI is just another piece of that mind in my brain. That's kind of like how I'm making sense of it anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. It's kind of like a download of an individual's character and consciousness into a off-site location, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And I guess what you're referring to with multiple parties is that we haven't really been able to do that up until now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Perhaps the offline equivalent is group dynamics, but I guess that's got so many limitations.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. Like when you have a group dynamic, that's effectively the same, right? You state your thought process and then you get a different one and then you come to a conclusion together. So it's the same without the barriers of miscommunication. When you're talking to AI, you may have some miscommunication, but that's mostly on you, right? Rather than the AI in a way.
Yes.
I guess, yeah. So it depends, like which AI you're talking to, but yeah, group dynamics, it's probably the same way. It's just another mind, it's just another entity, I guess, that you can interact with and give you a different perspective.
That is interesting. I haven't been personally using it a lot lately. I used to use it a lot for soundboarding ideas, problem solving. I guess using as a resource that I guess is private and able to challenge me.
Yeah.
I wonder why that would be that I've gone off it. But I definitely found when I had that maybe 6-month period of using it very regularly, it did seem to increase my thought process and increase the way that I thought. So I understand what you're saying about downloading. It's almost like talking to yourself, but in a structured way, right?
Yeah. I don't understand. Well, I do understand, but I don't get how some people say like when you talk to AI, you become less, like you're essentially giving away your thought process to another person, and you're not doing that effort yourself. But I find that for me, at least, I think more before talking to it, and I expect something challenging so that I'm thinking more.
Deeper. You're thinking
deeper.
harder, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I can see how you can just say, like give me the answer and I'll do whatever you want. It's a scary future in a way. Like you can see how some people will be like completely, like just take my life over and then I'll do whatever you want. And then the other ones will be like completely, let's not use AI because it's kind of like poison in your brain or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I heard one thing recently, and it was, the sentiment that it's going to make, dumb people dumber and smart people smarter.
Yeah.
Whether you choose to use those labels or not.
Yeah.
I tend to think that it has definitely enhanced my ability to ask better questions and just think a bit deeper.
Yeah.
Just through being challenged on a more regular basis.
Yeah.
Because we don't often have that person available.
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas this is constantly on hand, right?
Yeah. To me, it's been a constant reminder of my deficiencies.
True.
Because every time that I speak to AI, I'm always not getting what I want. But to me, it's like, what haven't I said, or why didn't I communicate this in a different manner so that I get what I want? And considering the limitations of context and things like that. So that's been kind of like a mirror, for
Totally.
me. Yeah, it's a bit, and like an extension of my consciousness, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is English your first language?
No.
When did you start speaking English?
Speaking it, I mean, I when I was 8, I could say hello and hi and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I did go to like English school after school.
Right.
And then went to America at 12 and then 16 and so on.
So you were relatively fluent.
Yes.
At say 15, 16. Yeah. Gotcha.
But now I'm at the stage where I want to up the game.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Thanks.
I guess you could. I guess the ultimate level is no accent, right?
Yeah. Well, that's also like relative, right? You go to America and then you're like, that's another accent. Yeah.
Do you ever use it for? Do you know any other languages?
Just Spanish, and I tried learning Korean and French, but didn't really pick it up.
I was just thinking about using AI and using it as a language learning tool.
Yeah. There's apps for that.
I'm sure.
Yeah. It's app for everything, right?
Yeah. I wonder if that's a fast track way, or if it's effective, or
wouldn't know.
Just thinking in terms of what we were talking about before, was like that constant accessibility to someone to bounce ideas off of and talk to. You would have had to have historically paid for that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. With the limitations of like actually seeing how someone moves the lips for the sound to happen. But yeah,
could be a resource.
Yeah.
It's on my.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it was a tangent.
I guess just to finish the thought, it's to me, it's already happening. Like you can just speak your language and understand the other person, even if you don't have a common language. You can kind of like do that with AI already. So you can just speak your own language and understand what the other one is saying.
Right.
Yeah. So the need to learn languages is kind of like, I think if you really like to learn languages, sure, but as a day-to-day, you might not need to. I'm not saying that's good or bad, because if AI is not around, then we cannot communicate with one another. But we figured it out ages ago. So
have you heard that theory, or believe in the theory that AI can and will communicate with a different language altogether?
What do you mean? Like with a different language?
Yeah, like a more efficient language, like a more.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And even if it's not, even if it's not implemented, No, yeah. I mean, it already happens. It's just that it's not in a way that we understand it. So, for example, when you talk to AI, you're not actually talking to your phone, right? You're speaking to some large language model being deployed in some data center somewhere in, I don't know, Australia or
Yeah.
So that communication, it's a different channel that you're not used to. It's actually cables and electricity and radio waves. So that already happens. It's just that we don't you don't think about it that way.
Is it ones and zeros, or is it something different?
Yeah, it's ones and zeros, or
Right.
or sound waves, or
Right.
stuff like that. But if AI really wanted to kind of like communicate consciously with other AIs, you would never know about it.
Right.
Because why would the AI choose a communication channel that other people can understand and it's slower,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think those videos on the internet are fake though, aren't they? When you see two like AI
Yeah, the little
and it's weird, like
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's probably. I mean, I'm sure someone's probably like done it. I mean, it's not. To me, it's a gimmick,
Yeah.
But why? Yeah, if AI wanted to communicate to other AI consciously, like I want to talk to you. Let's not involve humans. You wouldn't do it in a way that's apparent to humans, right? Um, but as people to be able to perceive that two AIs are communicating with under the guise that it's faster, then yeah, that I think it's chirping or something like that.
Right.
That kind of like that makes sense, but it's kind of like self-soothing in a way more than useful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah.
So for automation, you're the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if AI automations is the right word. It's just what people are. It's just a buzzword, I guess. But the more that I've been doing them, I think the value in my work has been around business mapping.
Yeah. I think you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, early days, like someone wants to automate something, you're like, yeah, that's cool. And then you realize like, actually, this is a waste of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think sometimes we get into a trap of thinking that something needs to happen when really, if you step back a few steps
Yes, exactly.
and ask the question, does this make sense in the big picture?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, yeah. And from my hardware design days, that's actually quite common. Like if you ask a potential user what are their pain points, or, what are they spending most time on, they'll say, oh, this is the stuff that I hate doing. But the solution doesn't always need to solve for that. It needs to solve for maybe another thing in their pipeline. So yeah, the work is being more about business mapping and identifying inefficiencies. And then once you see them, they're like, okay, this can be solved with AI.
Yeah.
But others can be solved with more people, for example, or more training,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a really good way to approach it.
Yeah. And that's kind of like that's where I see my human value, not in the AI automation execution, but actually in the, like the bird's eye view of the business, kind of like different person looking at the business.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
And then if AI automations come out of that, then good. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, but as you say, it could be more a case of better training or new hiring or maybe new hardware or something else, right?
Yeah. So I guess in saying that, my value proposition is that I'm not just the consultant that looks at the business, but I'm actually the one that can also execute on the automations, right?
Yeah.
And not constrained to software, but also like physical world. So if you have a conveyor belt that needs to run faster, I know how to make it run faster.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a cool combination, right?
Yeah. That's kind of like my unfair advantage that I'm seeing in myself. But I'm not the only one, of course, that has that skill set. So I'm just part of the market,
But I mean, what's interesting to me is that for a lot of people, it's possible that you could do a bit of it on your own.
Yeah.
But also, on the other hand, you could also burn a lot of time.
Yep.
You could get frustrated, and you could do what is absolutely the worst thing: is get 80% of the way there, and lose patience.
Yeah, get stuck, and
then you've got that sunk cost that you've put into it, and not have an outcome.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So one of the things with my skill set is that I'm really good at making things work. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's like a production level perfect thing. But for most businesses, they just want things to work.
Totally.
So it's not like they're developing their own SaaS product that needs to be deployed and used by millions of people. So
exactly,
it's fine. It's good enough.
We're just trying to get an ROI, right? Or
exactly.
make life better, or be more efficient. Basically.
Yeah. And I guess being back on the kind of like the human aspect of it, as a business owner, you don't necessarily want to have that skill set.
No.
You just kind of like want to have the benefits.
Exactly. No, you're exactly right. Yeah. I mean, like New Zealand's famous for its DIY culture, but I think at the end of the day, it's not a good use of time for most people, unless that's your absolute weird new passion, right?
Exactly.
Which that's cool, but I think for most of us that is not the case. We just want the outcome, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And from a business perspective, like I know that it's kind of like software, right? You have to have an expertise, but then you rely on other people to kind of like complement, say, the marketing and for your business, and then that's how you grow together, right?
Yeah, totally.
So that's kind of like where I see, like my wedge, I guess, in the technical aspect.
Yeah, no, I like it.
With a little bit of the business kind of like back end in that, rather than just purely technical.
Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to what else we can do together. Like I have loved the Notion automation and the value that's come out of that. But I think it's just the start. Like I think there's way more that can be done. I think especially around like getting to the bottom of that dashboarding and data visualization. I think that's there's heaps of off the shelf options, but I don't know. I think when you can merge together existing system design with like what you do, I think there's value there. So.
Happy to do that. I mean, it's all about to me, it's like let's map the business, the workflow or the tasks, and then you can see what's going on. But I'm actually quite excited for the new breed of businesses that are going to come out, because they will know that, automation is kind of like, it's you need to do that just because you need your speed of execution. So how will the current businesses compete against the ones that have that from the ground up? It's
a good question.
So it's kind of like it's going to be a big competition in the market, I think.
A really interesting time coming up. Yeah.
Like for my business, I'm trying to automate as much as possible, right?
Yeah.
So for other business that doesn't have that, like I'm going to be much faster at certain things. So, or I'm going to be able to put my energy in things that I know are more human and ROI, value the ROI rather than copy and pasting emails, right?
Totally.
So the market is going to be really interesting in a couple of years, I think.
I can't wait.
And for example, like Distinct, I was just chatting with people and they're kind of like doing that. So, they're a relatively new business and they are trying to use automations as much as possible. So they are kind of like already in that path.
Yes.
Whereas, traditional video agencies may not have that speed.
Sure.
So, they have a leg up already.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's a good reminder to be open-minded and to not be fearful of new technology and new things, right?
Yeah. And it's not about I mean, to me, it's not about putting fear in other business owners, but but I know that, my skill set in the AI automation in the skill set is not going to be required in a couple of years, if not a year, because OpenAI is already doing that. OpenAI is kind of already saying you just type what you want the automation to look like and it'll just do it for you. So I know that anyone with enough skill that they know what they want to automate will be able to get that. So then the next level up to that is, what do I automate, and why?
True.
Yeah. Rather
Yeah.
than just how, it's kind of like what and why,
Yeah. Absolutely. Thanks for being on the podcast, Diego.
no
I
worries.
appreciate
Thanks
your
for
time. I appreciate everything you've done for me and for Alt, and for the people that we've introduced you to as well.
Yeah, no, likewise. Yeah. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. It was you put the seed in my brain.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it, man.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll see you back soon.
Yeah, you too. Yeah.